All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. It is 9 minutes with me right here on IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook. We are presented by Main Street Host. Make sure you head to mainstreethost.com for a free website analysis on how you can grow your business with social and digital media marketing solutions. We're also supported by Lakeshore Yacht and Country Club and our terrific friends at the Manor Bakehouse Cafe. I want to spend a little bit of time here on Syracuse basketball. For the next eight and a half minutes or so, and talking about, as we record this, Syracuse has another huge game tonight at home against Miami. That's an 8 o'clock on the ACC network. And, in terms of Syracuse in ACC play, it could not have started better. I know the Georgia Tech loss at home was killer, but because of that loss, you then played with urgency and won at Duke. You come back and beat Pittsburgh, which was a really good win. That could have been a letdown game after you upset Duke on the road at Cameron. And then you come back home, you beat Pittsburgh. You're 13-5 overall, 4-1 in the ACC. To me, over the next 4 or 5 games, 6 games even, this is the time for Syracuse to add a lot of wins. This is the time where over the next 6 games, Syracuse had better be with at least 17 wins, in my opinion. You've got Miami at home, got to win that game. At Vatech's going to be hard, but certainly doable. Once you win at Cameron, you can believe you can win anywhere. Then you've got Pittsburgh on the road, tough environment. Pittsburgh's tough. Syracuse should win that game. Florida State at home, toss-up game, but they've been sliding a lot. They were a top, 10 team, and now they're out of the top 25. And then BC at home, which is a completely winnable game as well, even though Kai Bowman's this absolute stud. To me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games right there, Syracuse at the worst needs to go 4-2. If they go 4-2 even, they're 17-5, and they're 8-3 in the ACC going into the gauntlet of the season, which is at NC State, Louisville at home, Duke at home, at North Carolina, short, small breather at Wake Forest. Not an easy game, but a hell of a lot easier than the ones I just mentioned. And then you got to go back home and face Virginia and then go at Clemson. So that last stretch of games is the absolute gauntlet. And that's why, to me, Syracuse over the next 6 games, they've got to have major success. They can't go 500. They can't go 2-4. They can't allow themselves to slip up at all. These are crucial games going into the powerhouse of the ACC. Keep in mind right now that I think Syracuse is in good shape. I think they're one of the top 68 teams for sure to get into the NCAA tournament. But I don't think it's by much. I think if they lose another bad game, it could really hurt their chances, and then you're going to have to make up double time again. The win against Duke on the road was so huge because really it made up for one of the bad losses, Old Dominion or Georgia Tech, or, that's basically canceled out. It adds a huge quadrant win. It adds a road win. It adds a conference road win. So when you look at it from that standpoint, it probably made up for one of those really, really bad losses. Syracuse has 3 on the schedule, though. UConn in the Garden, which UConn has been brutal since then. Georgia Tech at home and Old Dominion at home. I don't look at UB that way because UB was a top 15 team when they came into Syracuse and won by double digits back in December. So to me, these next 6 games are so crucial for Syracuse. At least go 4-2. If you can go 5-1, I don't expect 6-0. That's just impossible in the ACC, home or road. But this is a huge place for Syracuse to gain some ground, get more wins, continue to go up in the standings in terms of the ACC. And then it just gets so hard once you hit mid-February. At NC State, Louisville, Duke, at North Carolina, Virginia at home, and at Clemson before the year is out with that at Wake Forest game in there as well, the third to last game on March 2nd. So it should be a really fun finish here to the season. Syracuse, I think lately, with their 2 wins against Pittsburgh and Duke, I think they've been playing probably the last 2 games. This is the best basketball they've played all year. Maybe they're finally getting into some kind of a rhythm. We know that they benefited from Trey Jones being out for Duke and, of course, Cam Reddish getting sick right before tip-off. Neither here nor there. That was still a very good win for Syracuse on the road. And how about Tyus Battle. Now, his three-point percentage has dipped below 30%, believe it or not, by a whisker. But he's averaging 18.2, and what he's doing now is he's taking better shots. He's going to the hole more and all the rest. That's what Syracuse needs from him. He needs to take higher percentage shots, getting things more in line with how the offense rolls. Obviously, the health of Frank Howard has been really big. Elijah Hughes has been good this season. I still think he's the X-factor player for this team. They still need more out of O'Shea Brissett. I'm sorry, this guy's just not doing enough. I know the numbers show you that he's averaging almost 14 points and pulling down almost 8 boards, but he's been wildly inconsistent. I think Syracuse needs more out of OB. Jalen Carey's been giving him good minutes. I think Buddy Boeheim's been pretty good here recently as well. Pascal Chukwu and Merrick Dolajai, all these guys who we talked about, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, they all, the ones we talked about in terms of regressing, they've all turned their seasons around. Frank Howard turned it around, and he's healthy. Look at Dolajai. You look at Chukwu. You look at all these guys. They've turned this thing around here. In Syracuse, we know they don't have that deep of a roster, and when it gets into big-time ACC games, they're only going to play 7 guys. So it's paramount that those 2 guys off the bench play well. It's important that the starters have great games. O'Shea Brissett has great games in order for Syracuse's success. So I think Syracuse beats Miami tonight. I think it's going to be maybe a game in the 60s. I'm going to go 65-62. Syracuse wins with some defense, with a little Tyus Battle, and a couple of late dagger threes by Elijah Hughes. 65-62, the Orange wins it tonight at the Carrier Dome. Now, on to the other subject with SU basketball, besides the State of the Union, the schedule, and all that. It's Isaiah Stewart. People are so pissed that he didn't choose Syracuse in Central New York. Folks, he's had a relationship with Mike Hopkins for like the last 5 years. All right, he's had a relationship with Mike Hopkins going back to middle school. And now Mike Hopkins is at Washington. And you know what? Sometimes kids, they just want to, go do something else. They want to kind of create their own path. And you know what? Isaiah Stewart has been respecting Mike Hopkins for a long time. He's respectful of Mike Hopkins in terms of, his want and need to build something out in Washington as well. And you know what? Yeah, he's from Indiana. It's not like he has any kind of hometown tie, to Syracuse, or hometown state tie to somebody else. He can go wherever the hell he wants. And in the first place, and second of all, there's really no tie there. He's had that relationship for a really, really long time with Mike Hopkins. So is it a big loss for Syracuse? It's a loss. It's a significant loss, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I think this is just what recruiting is. Recruiting, takes a lot of stamina in terms of getting guys. I should say, I misspoke earlier, by the way. He's from Rochester, but he is currently in Indiana with a prep school. At La Lumiere, I think is how you pronounce it. The reality of the situation is, though, Rochester, okay, yes, hour away from Syracuse, maybe that's another reason why fans look at it and go, well, what the hell? But by the same token, folks, give me a break. Mike Hopkins has gotten Nas Carter and Amir Wright to go out to Washington, and now Isaiah Stewart's going out. He's from Rochester, but let's be honest, with the prep school activity and all the rest of his playing days most recently, he's been farther and farther away from Rochester in the last several months. So I think it's a great get for Hop. I think it's a great place for Isaiah Stewart. I wish him well. It's a significant loss for Syracuse, but not the end of the world. I'm Mike Lindsley, 9 Minutes with me, IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.